Hey everyone, hope you had a relaxing holiday break. I know I did. Had some cashback rewards to burn in Apotos, home of Windmill Isle, and our next individual level analysis. All expenses paid, great weather, and the servers have to call you by name.
More water for you, Alan?
It's Adam.
Oh, my mistake. Water for Alan?
Wait, no, Adam! I'm Adam! There is no Alan! Anyways, we're gonna keep things chill to start the new year. Easy breezy, good vibes only. So relax your backs and get comfortable on this rustic patio furniture underneath a flowery pergola, next to these flimsy wood— Hey, wait a minute.
I heard Sonic's gonna be running by here.
You just missed him.
Aw. Hey, Alan, we missed him.
What the hell, really? Did you tell him I was here?
Alright, I gotta move over to that long narrow street with the green umbrellas and clay pots, and you gotta listen to this brief history of Windmill Isle. Careful, man, there's a hedgehog running around here.
Oh god, we gotta tell Alan! Alan!
The city of Apotos, whatever, was established in the late great 2008 with a long stretch of runway that they want no hedgehog trouncing around. The quaint portside town takes after the vacation destination of Mykonos in Greece. I'm sure you've seen the pictures. The replication here is identical. It's probably Unleashed's most direct copy. It's also very photorealistic. Quite the level to show off your global illumination, eh, Sonic team? And what a perfect place to situate Sonic Unleashed's first level. The warm open views and gentle color palette really cushion you in for some ease and breeze. Which is hilarious, because actually running this level feels like a whirlwind of adrenaline, clocking in completion times between 2 and 3 minutes. This level is fairly simple, all things considered, but it is level 1, right? Essentially Unleashed's tutorial. Well, it's actually level 2, as there is a more nitty-gritty tutorial before it. Windmill Isle Act 1 contains many carefully set up scenes to teach you the mechanics, and Act 2 is more like all those mechanics in practice. Today, we'll mainly be looking at Act 2, as I consider that the real level here in Apotos. But what happens to Act 1? Well, I'll explain all of that at the end of the video. Gotcha! Nothing like a half-hour wait, right? Anyways, with a magnifying glass centered on the second half, it actually helps us analyze it as its own standalone experience. Hypothetically, the tutorial should continue here, but you're not given many hint markers for the most part. That's because Windmill Isle is less of a mechanics tutorial and more of a vibe tutorial. This level teaches you how it feels to play Unleashed, rather than how to navigate it. Combined with its simple, on-rails nature, it also shows you how much fun it is to play these levels well. You learn quickly how cool it feels to skip punishment paths and sail into sneaky track elements, something that you're gonna have to work for later down the line. But for now, let's let the good times roll and finally enter Windmill Isle. Alrighty, let's start. And how is our opening camera shot? A bit sterile, if we're being honest. It reminds me of Rooftop Run, as this wall is blocking out a lot of landscape potential. Judging by the geography of the level, we could have a big island covered in windmills if we took out this barrier. But perhaps the draw distance would have some issues. For now, we got a dollop of planter and a serving of destructible objects. Yummy. Which is a shame, because this is our first real level of Unleashed. A bit more skyline wouldn't hurt anyone. Whatever. Let's gain control of Sonic and see what Unleashed teaches us in our first real runway through a little neighborhood I like to call Rolling Hills. Isn't that quaint? Something that you might realize about Windmill Isle is that it is very narrow. All Unleashed levels are. Eventually you start seeing those hypothetical 3 lanes everywhere, but Windmill Isle is very strict with how tight they keep the playing field. It's hard to fly off course here. You're always cramped into a runway, but it all enhances that feel of Unleashed, as the narrow architecture makes your boost constantly obvious. In essence, Windmill Isle loves to show you how fast you're going by incentivizing you to sprint down long stretches, to let you catch the world warping around you. So let's start. And what do we see? Well, every starter level in Sonic is adorned with natural flair, and Windmill Isle is no different. We get a ton of overhang foliage spilling out from every crevice, which is also our only green. A good majority of Windmill Isle is white and blue. Squint and you might even pick up that beige stonework as sand. Kinda feels like Emerald Coast, huh? Shout out to SA1. But, I don't want to freak you out, but we also see humans cheering us on by the sidelines. You might not ever pick up on it, but there are citizens ushering us forward in the background of like every level. Thank you, humans! Besides that, we got 2 sets of rings, cramped houses, and the faintest hint of an ocean. Okay, let's move our legs. With our first couple of rings giving us the opportunity to boost on beat with the music, we're thrown at Mach speeds towards our first slight curve. And yes, I'm gonna go off about this curve, because it doesn't stop you, it just slides you back on course, which is huge. Unlike previous Sonic games of the past, we immediately learn that this one doesn't care if you play loose with the boundaries, loose with your speed. It cares later, but for now, you can boost right into a curve, and the game will not slow you down. No initial enemies, no big spectacle, no screw-ups. AKA, just go, man. Go as fast as you can. Also, really quickly, a nice demonstration of the lighting engine too. They're flaunting it with all the shadows on our left. But our main example comes right after this curve. They drop us into a blind tunnel with no sunlight to grace it, immediately showing us the way the lighting is going to handle in this game. Like I said, this is a vibe tutorial, and we see it all around us. We feel it too. This area has a lot of fun slopes that lets the camera bounce around as Sonic coasts over them. The double bump method is something Windmill Isle uses everywhere. Any slope is typically paired with another. It's given off that rolling roller coaster feeling, so keep an eye out for them. After a straight runway, our path is split into 2 lanes. Our next Unleashed vibe check. So our left side will command us to boost through these egg fighters. Act 1 sort of taught us this, but now we're in a narrow alley. The boost is obvious, even without the prompt, and it tells you, hey, we don't want you stopping to hit these guys. Running fast will do that for you. Climbing right, however, will send you up some stairs and connect you with a rail. The connection is smooth. You might not even realize you're on a rail until halfway through. But it also tells us that our speed transfers to the rails. Nothing is slowing you down here. The split gives us multiple paths, and grabbing the wide spring will let you dash jump onto some balconies. Not only do we have splits forward, we also can divide our path vertically. Nothing new for Sonic, but what Unleashed is showcasing here is how all these lane switches can fit into a narrow space and function fine with your speed. And then we have our final vibe check. This stupid little hill. It's so important, okay? It's like 2 seconds, but it's essential. We're squeezed tight, tighter than ever before. Our 2 lanes visibly transfer to 1. As you stumble past these rocks like a buffoon. So rude, why would you do that? And hit the dash pads. And if you didn't catch it before, you're definitely seeing it now. Look at that motion blur. It absolutely melts the corners of your screen. There's no missing it. The route is designed to shove it in your face. And check this out. The blue accents of the buildings flip to red, like they're hitting the full pressure zone as you pull G's and climb up this steep hill. The camera is also very low again. A lot of the screen real estate is saved for the big blue sky. You feel the climb, you feel the space, and because of all that, you feel the speed. As we finish the hill, the buildings return to blue, and we get the second half of this double bump, and we faceplant into a wide spring. And when we finally spring up, we see the ocean, a huge player in Apatos, who we'll dive into later. But for now, the camera turn instructs us to home these enemies and unlock the pulley. We already did this in Act 1, so if anything, this is just showing you how to chain your actions with your previous speed. Another huge facet of Unleashed. This idea extends further to our spinners after the goalpost. You start to feel the rhythm of running and homing by how these things are placed. And that's kind of the big takeaway I had from Unleashed's first real segment. It's not there to instruct on handling, it's there to instruct on game feel. Besides the ledge, there's nothing new here. You're just using your Act 1 knowledge to have fun within the first 15 seconds. And that's a very emblematic way of presenting Unleashed to the player, because all it's concerned with is showcasing how it feels to play fast. What a neat little opener. There's a couple of fun secrets you can catch on replays too. Nailing the dash ring at the start to curve over this arch, Balcony 2 giving you a little rail slide, and this pulley rewarding you with an extra life. Easy breezy alt routes that all contain a fun element of forward progression. But enough for rolling. Let's stomp down and fire off into the same restaurant that I'm staying at right now. Oh my god! Ow. We'll be quick here. A lot of the previous runway was used for the vibe tutorial, but this is saved for spectacle. We already know how to boost, we like going forward, and we know that most things don't really stop us. So surprise, you're tearing through a restaurant. It's really funny because although the game offers the path around it, they don't correct you that way. I wonder if some players were like, woohoo, fun boost, whoa, sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm a hero, I'm a good guy. But then again, you know, city escape. Anyways, this short little set piece involves blasting through a bunch of furniture and finishing with some egg fighters at the end. But it's doing some fun stuff, so let's dive into the destruction. It's hard to notice, but Sonic actually tears through 4 patios here. We get a shaded terrace, green chairs, tan chairs, and red chairs, ready to die. But our path through them is interesting. You automatically blast through this first patio. You have to actually work to avoid it, and dodging is not even encouraged, as no rings are placed around it. The dark terrace also helps to signify the collision color change that Sonic gets on his boost whenever he runs into things. The bright orange impact color lights up under all that darkness. However, our next 3 patios are placed on our sides, and the rings direct past them, which means Sonic clips into them rather than barrels through them, which makes the destruction much more visible to us. You probably only notice what's going on after the second patio, when the sunlight hits your path. And now you might even notice there's space on the sides, isn't there? It's useless by all accounts. It doesn't enhance your progression, but the space extends a lot deeper than you'd expect. But there's a secret alcove for a moon medal on your right, if you want that. These videos aren't collection guides, but, you know, Everyone wants a moon medal. And there's these fun little pelicans hanging out too. And even they tell you to move your ass forward. So let's continue. Our final blast here involves smashing a ton of robots. But watch how the camera drops down and extends back. A bit of surprise spectacle for you, as this first robot and these barrels hide all those enemies waiting to explode beyond. It's another one of those holy shit is everyone okay moments. With the tight space and the multitude of egg fighters, you will clearly see these things bounce from your boost and into each other within milliseconds. The ragdolls are hilarious, the explosions are insane. If the poor chairs didn't demonstrate Unleashed's fun use of physics, then these suckers certainly do. But regardless, what I love about the patio obliteration here is that it sneaks us two surprise spectacles, one from the patio and one from the enemies. Nothing about this or this screams spectacle until you're in the splash zone. Kinda emblematic of the way Unleashed melds its use of spectacle into the world spaces. Remember, Windmill Isle is a city with a Sonic level in it, rather than a Sonic level in a city. So far, we know how it feels to go fast, and how it feels to go fast through things. But now we're abandoning all vibe and diving into an honest-to-God tutorial in 2D. Welcome to the second dimension! We don't get a full flattening, the camera is always angled to the side, except for two brief moments, which was smart. A full side view could have ripped us from Apatos, but the open angle lets the city breathe beyond our path. Also, surprise, surprise, there is no boundary shortening at all on this entire level. Every wall is low, interspersed with open railings, and it's never inconvenient because you rarely enter a complete profile during the stage. But let's start, and run past this empty bridge. Hey, this feels familiar. Oh god. Something to note here, almost every chunk of Windmill Isle is separated by these stretched out barren pathways. It helps to acclimate yourself before every section. They typically appear whenever you swap between the two perspectives. Sonic crests over these two bumps in the road before dropping into this tight little loop. It's kind of funny, right? Why is this here? What is it doing? In my opinion, emphasizing speed. Yet again. The camera actually starts to swing ahead of Sonic for a second, but when he snags this loop, it whips back to stay on top of the little guy. You don't even see him as he climbs, the camera tracks his motion. It tracks his speed. Anyways, let's get wacky with this next part. It's a tutorial that also contains a punishment path, the first one you will encounter in this entire game. But this section is also concerned with teaching you how to slide. Keep your speed and you'll learn it fast up high. Lay off the boost and you'll take it slow down below. Both question marks want you to press B. It just depends on what kind of pace you want to take it. If you're quick and saw the button prompt, then maybe you caught the first slide, but you're probably not catching the second. See, if you went up top, then the move is easy to see. The camera is far back, there's a hint marker above, rings below. Your brain knows what's going on before B even shows his face. But slide 2 is harder to spot as the camera gets tight and they place a lot of items before it. This is probably where a lot of players knocked their noggin and did the crawl of shame. I'm sorry. The last half of this section involves jumping over this pit and grabbing a rail. This is also our first jump in between islands, reinforced by the kill plane below. The background separates to showcase it too. Boosting will get you there immediately, but a normal jog will send you through another little loop and has you platforming over spring poles, avoiding spikes. This is a clearer example of a punishment path, as there are no tutorials, and spikes and bounce pads are nothing new. It's just stairs instead of rails. But our final runway sends us on to the next segment. All in all, I think this thing is still continuing the vibe tutorial tradition of the last two portions. The only real surprise is crouching, but otherwise the platforming is intuitive, and it's more concerned with showing you how you can feel by going fast in 2D. On one hand, it's very on rails, but on the other, it still feels fun, doesn't it? Hitting the ramp, rainbow ringing, twirling, and grinding over this bump feels like you pulled off some crazy combo, when you really just kept holding X. But then, we have the opportunity to hit a crazy combo. Slide, boost through objects, slide, boost onto rail. It's sort of divided between feel and application. First, you feel how cool the combo is, then you have to actually make it happen. The vibe tutorial envelops us all. And it's gonna continue as we catch the sea breeze on this next section, the harbor grind. Our first big rail grind, and quite the scenic one too. Not a lot of challenge on this thing, but there's tons to look at. All other segments in Windmill Isle feature the city of Apatos, but this one highlights the water surrounding this quaint little port town. So let's dive right in. Our single rail brings in two more, side by side, and we swerve around these huge, jagged rocks. The swerve here feels so deliberate, same with the placement. However, the grand reveal is nothing essential. We just get more island with a city on top. And why not? It looks great. The greenery creates a little path, and the layered construction just emphasizes more of that Greek architecture. But we're also bombarded with a bit of global illumination. The sunlight is beaming here. The rocks are white. You're losing Sonic in those bright ocean reflections. I'm sweating just looking at it. But what's more overbearing coming is the sea. This is our first and only showcase of the waters around Apatos. And with the speed of the rails, the rustling of your quills, trailing of the seagulls, they're emphasizing wind. Cool air from your movement. And hey, check out this curve too. Since we're boosting, we become Sonic. We watch the rails climb above the horizon, and we get this fantastic near-miss element as Sonic zips under the bridge. Then we transfer back to one rail, as the seagulls ride the wind alongside us. They follow you through the twist if you take it slow, but you can outrun them with a boost. This level actually features the seagulls a ton, but you're probably missing them because you're the fastest thing alive. Keep up, guys! And this corkscrew, what a fabulous bit of fun. This thing succeeds through the camera, since it remains stationary. For once, we're tracking Sonic with our eyes, while the camera takes a break. It also gets so low, we practically get some Sonic feet POV. Don't Google that! We get sprayed with all these sparks, and finally the camera snaps back behind our boy. And we really feel that, because the path immediately dips, catching up with him as he descends. It's a roller coaster! Alright, finally we finish up with our last triple grind, and this one keeps us on our toes. The first triple set only has one spike in the middle, but this one requires some lane switching. Thankfully, all gaps have dash rings, and the spikes are spaced out enough that even first-timers can keep a boost going. And this massive angled bridge should be our indicator for our ending rail loop, but this loop is so ginormous, you can see it from behind the bridge anyways. This is also kind of stupid, but it's kind of like if you ever went to a theme park, and you can kind of see the tips of the roller coaster loops from the parking lot. It gets you so excited. Unfortunately for Adam, we don't stay tight for this loop, and instead zoom all the way out to track Sonic as he hits the peak. But that does give us something better. Tiny Sonic, who actually gets tinier as he finishes the rail. Thank you. And once we hit the bridge, we complete the harbor grind. Talk about a scenic route. The water is the big star here. We're experiencing how much of an archipelago Apatos really is. That shot before the twist is crazy. Civilization feels miles away. But we're back with the boats in 10 seconds. And the boats! The anchor is on the flag. Thank God we got these things. Kinda wish these waters were more busy, but thankfully those foghorns are selling us on those hypothetical docks. I love that little inclusion. It's like the captains are honking the horn for Sonic. Yet again, it's all feel over control. Very hard to fail as everything auto-corrects you, but hot damn if you ain't buying what they're selling. It's fantastic, like I'm windsurfing on vacation. I've never windsurfed in my life, but I'm sure spikes are involved. And real quick, let me show you a speed run strat. You can actually jump off the rail and boost from the rocks at the start, then clip into the geometry and fall into the ocean. It's really cool. If someone tell Big Blue, he should know about this. Okay, we're back on land, kinda. And it's time for our next 2D section, which I like to call 1, 2, 3, Windmill Way. Hey, guess what? We're finally getting windmills! They were a bit bashful in the other segments, but they're front and center here. In fact, it's the closest you ever get to a windmill. So this 2D section gets very tight and sends you through a lot of loops and inclines. It's essentially an extension of the feel that first loop gave us way back when. The camera is freaking out trying to stay on top of this little blue bastard. Either way, we got a lot more 2D in tight spaces. Small loops on ground and on rail. And then we arrive at our first accelerator gun. But yo, what's up with this tiny ledge? Why make us jump over it? It's useless, is what I thought. But as we leap into the air, this question mark comes into full view. At least, that's my guess. It's not fully in the picture if you're just chilling on the ground, so I wonder if they were concerned players were gonna miss it. But it doesn't get in our way, does it? Something I appreciate about Unleashed is they keep the hint markers out of your main path. You have to physically move yourself outside the speed zone to access them. And thank God for that, because we want to replay these levels, and they don't want to dead stop us at every second. Anyways, A sends you up, X sends you forward. Now we got another hashtag teachable moment, the egg spring. Nasty little buggers. I'm British now. Just from the placement here, you probably know what it does. It springs you towards pain. Thankfully, Eggman's evil, ugly face stands out well with a white contrast, even in shadows, so we can see it clearly as we're moving through the level. Climbing above will just have us platforming over some marshmallows, and we're done. But if you boost up on the entrance ramp, you'll snag a 10 ring, which is not just here to pad your pocket. It's a signal. If you boost as you touch it, you'll be able to skip right onto the next platform. Jump and boost over that, and we're done in seconds. Here's my Unleashed mega tip. A lot of the sounds and item placements are used as signifiers for specific moves. Like in 2D Skyscraper Scamper, you will always spring into this moon medal. Well, boost when you hear the collection noise, and you will reach the glass every time. If you ever struggle on timing in the boost games, use the environment around you to help mark your actions, or even the sounds of the track elements. Anywho, look at all these windmills! Baby, we are on the Isle now. And uh-oh, we got the heads-up color swap. And sure enough, a slide awaits us ahead. What comes next is some fun, cheeky platforming, as every spring will land us on a dash pad. But on our final ascent, we see an easy-to-home egg fighter. So did this scare you on your first playthrough? Because it freaked me out. You homing attack this enemy to bounce over this gap, but his body kills the next step in our pattern. Hey, what the hell? But then, down the line, is our savior, another reticle, calling us from the other side. If this part is teaching you anything, it's that Sonic has a huge homing radius in this game, and they want you to use it to save yourself. Now, mapping the Save Me button to the rocket launch ignition maybe wasn't the brightest idea, but that's for a different video. Regardless, it's a clever way of introducing us to Sonic's attack range, and it helps prepare you for riskier jumps in later levels. Overall, Windmill Way is much more of a tutorial than our initial 2D segment. It starts with the vibe, but quickly transfers to new mechanics. Accelerator guns, egg springs, big-ass Sonic spinball, but what I really appreciate is just as we saw with our raised hint marker by the ledge, you can easily speed through the section on replays. They were able to transform the stop-and-go tutorial into another speedy segment by layering the fast escapes over the classroom pits. It still fits perfectly fine within your endless combo, and that's wonderful. But either way, once we reach the other side of that pit and the city really sprawls out, we hit a trick jump panel, and uh-oh, Adam turned a circle into a set piece. Here we go. I know, who cares? 1 second, blah, blah, blah. This is the only moment in all of Windmill Isle that legitimately feels like a set piece, and it's pretty tame in that regard. It's also the only segment that highlights a monument or landmark in Apotos, but it's tiny. There is no climb, peak, fall. You just do a little circle and we're off to Adam's next drawing. But I believe this circle is doing something very important, legitimizing our environment. Let's get there. First off, we get our first trick jump panel, and it's as easy as you'd expect. Ton of time, 3 prompts, gorgeous view. We're getting that archipelago ambiance with a distant ocean suddenly trapped between these craggy islands. Hit our dash pad, zoom out, and we start our turn. And stop. This is what's important. The background during Windmill Way was not just for show. It's real. It's physical. It's right there. Apotos isn't a flat painting. It's a city. We ran through something that actually had depth, even if we saw it from the side. In past games, I could see a big mountain being placed here, as rendering the background could have been trouble with engine limitations, but here in Unleashed, the depth is a standard. The environment is convincing. Now, do you catch this in like 1 millisecond? No. Probably not. But subliminally, I think leaving that depth bare and open keeps us from immediately noticing video game. Instead, we're witnessing Windmill Isle. And to finish up, let's take you to a place you've probably never been. Under the monument. The dog was barking, mom walked into the room, and you failed the QTE. Great. Well, you just drop into this courtyard and run under this overhang, where you will do the exact same circle, but a bit lower this time, blocking all that depth nonsense I just pulled out of my ass. Kidding. I stand by my observations, because I do believe I am that exhausting. Zipline or none, you traverse your handy-dandy transitional bridge and enter the open-air alley. This is one of those, how did this come out in 2008 parts, if you slow down and really look at it. It's so meticulously detailed, and it's getting so globally illuminated. This is the one part of the level that is uniquely devoid of any Sonic iconography. The only things pulling you in are these random rings and the occasional tricky ledge, but that's about it. The runway is not warped for Sonic. It stands on its own as a believable world space, which aids in Unleashed's immersive IRL vibe. But let's hash it out. After all that 2D traversal, the camera eases out from that sideways angle and nestles back in place behind Sonic. And there's no question here, we already know what to do. We leave the edge of the island and follow some rings into more neighborhood. And we got double pelicans this time, how about that? Beyond the birds, the path splits. Overhang on our right, and a narrower ring trail on our left. Let's begin with the right path. It's criminal, shameful that we lose ourselves in the boost here, because the overhang is divine. It puts me at ease, man. Get those rings out of here. I just want to set up a balsa wood deck chair, snooze under those flowers, and wait for Sonic to rip me in half. If there's one thing I'd encourage you to do, it's to walk through this section, not run. Screw the time, just take in the atmosphere. With global illumination hitting every single continent in Unleashed, I think this spot clears any other place on the planet of Sonic. I mean, look at it. God, it's gorgeous. But now I'm just waxing poetic. If we march forward, we'll see a bright orange dash ring floating over a sneaky ledge. You know I hate my ledges, but I love how they handled them here. Even in the congested fervor of the alley, you can still see these things from far away. If they were just a bit more illuminated, I think this would be the de facto ledge tutorial, instead of our boy at the start. But before I write a poem about another street, let's hurry on forward and turn into a red-fenced pathway. Our exit slot lies ahead, but let's reverse real quick and check out the left path. Oh yeah, baby. Now we're talking. Now we're getting narrow. Sonic Team, why'd you make this alley look so good? You knew we'd run through it. Did someone on staff know a maniac was gonna make Sonic stroll up the streets slowly? Well, hold your breath, folks, because we're about to hit the creme de la creme. Hiking up these stairs reveals a garden, adorned with flowers, spotted with trees, buildings uniquely overgrown. It's a photograph, my new screensaver. Photoshop Sonic out and put me in, because I want to windmill this aisle. 2008, by the way. I'm waxing again. Let's continue the walking tour and find some actual track elements. Alright, if you're boosting through, you're probably missing all that previous beauty, but you're sure as hell catching this camera shot. It's fantastic, especially because it stretches back right when Sonic climbs those stairs. It illustrates that crammed, neighborly feeling of Apatos. Plus, it travels over our previous route. The dash rings are right down there. Hello. After shooting straight and hitting a wide spring, we're given a vertical slice. The rainbow ring will offer us a sun medal. Missing it just has you smashing through gates, and we're back at the red barriers. Okay, let's cut the bullshit. This section is all fluff. But I believe it's more focused on constraining your vision when moving through fast, narrow spaces. Even if I was hyping up the ambiance, boosting through this part is almost a test on how to succeed with the constant barrage of detail. With so much flying by you, it checks to see how you survive moving forward. It's also a nice example of that curve reassurance from the start of the level. If you just hold left on the thumbstick, you will immediately slide into that alternate path. No jagged geometry stops you. It teaches us how smooth Unleashed handles navigation at high speeds in tight spaces. But once we slide through the slot and grab two pulleys, we home onto a bridge and towards our final second dimensional segment. Whoa, check it out! Green fences, that's new, and I have no explanation. That looks kinda green. Maybe they're connected? Oh shit, I'm giving away my analytical techniques! Let's boost forward and get flat. We pass under this arch, and the curve in the stairs helps prepare our brain for the perspective change. We then find ourselves in an accelerator gun. Xing on the A will fire us over this flower field. But again, try walking through it. Take it slow. It looks beautiful. This is the greenest the level's gonna get, so bask in it. Climb some stairs and we're in another accelerator gun. But before we shoot this one, let's reverse and hit A on the last. Guess what? You go up. The red balcony features a dash ramp, and if anything, this is where you'll learn boosting off these ramps takes you to different areas, as a successful burst will connect you with a rail, which loops to the height of those background bell towers, and throws us into the next accelerator gun. Finally, we X through the robots, drop below, and shift ourselves back to 3D. That was fast. A bit uneventful too, compared to our other flat friends. Windmill Isle is effectively teaching you many techniques in the previous segments, but here it just kinda basks in the island itself. And that's not a criticism, as the navigation still feels effortless, and the backgrounds are looking as pretty as ever. Not every second of every level needs to do something, but I'm curious if there's a larger aspect I'm missing in this final 2D scene. I want to hear from you. For now though, let's leave the flowers behind, sprint up those stairs, and tackle the final stretch. Alright folks, one last run. Depending on your skills, this can be monumental or very painful. We got two routes to our goal ring, a stroll through the neighborhood or a rail grind that shoots you towards the final route. Let's take the punishment path first. They give you a lot of time for this QTE, so many people probably never went down here. But it's just as detailed and beautiful as our previous alleyway runs. However, it hides one mischievous little asshole. This ledge. There is not a doubt in my mind that they wanted you to trip over this thing. The rest of my ledge complaints, you can make arguments for, but this one, oh man, is it evil. Let me show you this one. See if you can catch it. Alright, again. One more time. Just one more time. Alright, let's break down the trickery. First off, it's unleashed, so you're probably boosting. The past has taught us to be cautious when we're this narrow, but oh, those rings are dangling in front of us, aren't they? Begging to be used. The boost warps the space, and the curve hides what's in front of us. When we finally level out, when Unleashed finally gives us a chance, we come in contact with the big villain. This bush. This ledge is half shaded. The light gives us our only indication of it. But guess who's blocking our vision? This guy. Like, perfectly, to a comical degree. I really wonder if it was intentional or just random luck that this guy became the main culprit here. Without him and his last three cousins, I do think you could at least catch it. But the ledge is also straight instead of jagged, unlike every other ledge we've seen before. It blends so well with the stonework and the shadows, it practically looks like another building getting globally illuminated. And hitting this thing locks Sonic in a tripping animation as he heads right for some spikes. It's downright dirty, but it's also hilarious. Like, it's so evil, so violent to be placed at the end of Windmill Isle, your first level, the gentlest environment, and then boom, death trap. Oh, you guys are nasty. Clearing it, however, sends us to the last road. Yay, but is that a rail above us? Let's reverse back to the trick jump panel and hit our buttons. Whew! Feeling good. This higher balcony will quickly transition into a rail. Whoa, let's stop real quick. Move over, garden. I got my next screensaver. It's such an incredible shot. This entire time we've been speeding through the streets of Apatos. If I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. But now we're flying above it. The boost bends the camera back and we see so much. All the fun, simple shapes of the buildings, the accents of blue, the occasional tree, the tall towers, the fields of green, distant windmills, tapestry of clouds, the 2 glowing flower beds, the sky, and the sea. It's Windmill Isle, all in one shot. And if we inch our frames forward, guess what? We're plunging back in. Feels smooth as hell, right? That's because the trees here block the drop. This ledge is a steep drop-off. The rail simply curves to the story below. And look, there's our punishment path. And look, here's a near-miss element. Speeding straight will make it look like we're going into the fields, but this rail corrects us left, with another case of near-miss under the windmill. One last surprise obstacle, which we can spin over with the rainbow ring. And then we get this odd finish. I always thought you should have just sprinted into the finish like Dragon Road, but you got a wide spring over a wall into the ring. But then I realized this spring lets us catch a lot of the windmills around us as we soar to their height. The camera even takes a bit to pitch down, capturing the happy family and their baby mills. But as we stomp down for a bit of flair, we land in the goal ring and complete Windmill Isle. Hey, that one's not moving. All right, tourists. How does Windmill Isle make you feel? For me, I feel at ease going full speed. The limits they let you reach on this stage are insane, especially for level 1. Stretches like the harbor grind or the ending alleyways make you feel supersonic. Windmill Isle is built out of narrow pathways in order to intensify that heavy motion blur that Unleashed is known for. And even when they flip you to 2D, you're still getting a lot of amplifiers, like the tight loops that spin your camera in circles, or the inclines and slopes that they pave onto nearly every home. This level rolls off the controller and onto your fingertips. Think of that 2-slope method that follows you through. The routes here juggle you up and down before launching you into the air, and that tight camera is making sure you feel every dip and curve. It feels like a roller coaster. It's fun, and it's natural. You can carry that momentum through the entire level without pausing to learn the controls. The only area that tries to stop you is the slides at the start, but otherwise, a lot of Act 2 is simple to understand for the player. If I were to devil's advocate a little bit here, Windmill Isle is, admittedly, incredibly easy. You could just hold down boost for a lot of these segments, and you'll pass them with flying colors. But I think that's also the point. As I said before, this level is not about teaching you the mechanics, it's about teaching you the feel. Unleashed feels the best when you're nailing everything successfully, and this level lets you do that at the outset. It's built to make you look cool at top speeds, with very little chance to slow down. Hint markers are shoved around you, rails throw you into rainbow rings, the curves will bounce you back on track. And we haven't even touched on the setting. Apatos is the perfect place to stage this stage. The open-air archipelago fits right in with the supposed tranquility of a starting level, but it's interrupted by Sonic whipping through the streets. In any other Sonic game, a tight, narrow city street should be a challenge, but here it's an open runway. You get the experience of maintaining your speed through a congested environment, and it feels awesome. You are the wind gusts snaking through the streets. You are the wind in their sails. Sonic is like the wind, right, Cream? Windmill Isle, it's not rocket science. They bombard you with the damn things. They crowd you as you dance for that S rank. You're making these things turn, dude. This quaint monument theoretically powered by your motion. They bask in it all over the islands, but you blast through it. And that to me is the big picture. Windmill Isle is easy breezy while keeping things fast and speedy. It is the vibe of Unleashed. Fast, fun, free. Bravo. But what about Act 1? It needs to be discussed. It's as much of a tutorial as Act 2. We need another investigation. We need another video. And that's what you're gonna get. As next week, we're gonna go over Act 1 in its own individual level analysis, and Act 1-2, and Act 2-2, and Act 3, and Act 4. We're tackling all the bonus acts for the first time ever. See you next week. Actually, see you now. Hi, hello. Because I gotta do the outro. How does Windmill Isle make you feel? Does it stand up among all the other level 1s? It's got some heavy competition. What does it do different to you? And does it succeed in that? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so let's chat down below. This episode was originally going to be my second, before Dragon Road took its place. I love the stage, and I love its bonus acts even more. I have wanted to tackle the Unleashed bonus levels for a while. They absolutely contain their own spectacle and merit. So even when we finish with Eggman Land later down the line, remember that there's always more Unleashed to uncover. But regardless, thanks as always for watching. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, liking, hitting that bell. 2025 is going to be a big year for Ajax. I finally rebeat Forces, fixed up my Wii, and I hear Project 06 is nearing completion. We got a lot to look forward to. I'm really excited. For now though, keep Apotos in your mind, and I'll see you next week. Peace!